This video is sponsored by Brilliant. In this video, I'll show you how I'm learning multiple languages with ChatGPT. And I'm not referring to programming languages, but languages like English, Spanish, Italian, and others. We'll see different things we can do with ChatGPT to learn a language, such as turning ChatGPT into a language buddy, how it can help us increase our vocabulary, get better translations than Google Translate, and more. This video will be useful regardless of the language you're learning and whether you're a beginner or advanced learner. So let's get started. Alright, before we start with this video, I want to tell you that all the prompts that I'm going to use in this video are going to be on the description below. And let's start with the first way to use ChatGPT to practice a language. And this is by turning ChatGPT into a language buddy. Sometimes we need to practice what we learned in our lessons when learning a language, and the best way to do this is by chatting with somebody or talking with somebody in real life. But the problem is that we don't always have somebody to practice with, and you can use ChatGPT as your language buddy to practice your language skills. And this is the prompt that we're going to use. Act as a language partner. You'll start a conversation with me about some topic in the language that I'm learning. In every response, you should provide your opinion and then ask me a question to keep the conversation going. So here you can replace the topic that you're interested in and the language that you're studying. In this case, let's say I'm interested in talking about Italian food and I want to practice my Spanish skills. So here I said, you'll start a conversation with me about Italian food in Spanish. And this is how we can start a conversation with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is going to start a conversation like it's our language partner. For example, here in Spanish, it's telling me that it likes Italian food, especially carbonara. And well, it's asking me what's my favorite Italian food. So it's like a person chatting with me. And here I'm answering that I like carbonara and bolognese. So here I give this answer, and ChatGPT is not going to give me the typical information about this food, but it's going to keep that conversation going. So this is a good way to start a conversation with ChatGPT and to practice your language skills. And you can even change the first topic we started with. Here I started with Italian food. You can continue with another type of food, or you can talk about another topic like football or music or anything you want. Alright, the second way I use ChatGPT to learn a language is by asking ChatGPT to create a roadmap to learn a language based on my needs and preferences. So everybody has different preferences when studying something, and if you tell ChatGPT what are your preferences, you can create a customized roadmap to learn a language effectively. So here's the prompt that I'm going to use for this. And this prompt I use not only for studying languages, but anything that I want to study. So here's the prompt. I want to study, and I have to specify the subject that I want to study. It can be any language you want. And then I said, create a roadmap to learn this subject for the first X months. It can be the first 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or whatever you want, considering my needs and preferences below. And first we have the goal. Here we have to specify what are your goals. In this case, your language goals, why you're learning, for example, Spanish or English or French. You have to specify that. Then the time available, how many hours you have per day to study this language. Then your current knowledge, you have to indicate whether you are a beginner, intermediate, or advanced learner. Then your learning style. And finally, we have the motivation. What's your motivation to study this language? Now, I'm going to edit this based on the language I'm learning. So right now I'm learning German, and this is the information that I put. First, I want to study German, create a roadmap to learn German for me for the first 3 months. And well, consider the preferences below. So prioritize my speaking skills. Speaking skills is priority for me, so this is my main goal. Then I'm telling ChatGPT that I have 1 hour per day, no weekends, that I'm an absolute beginner, and that I'm an auditory learner. So I like learning with audio and this type of content. And finally, I tell ChatGPT that I'm learning German because I want to travel to Germany and Austria. And now ChatGPT is going to create a customized roadmap based on this information. And this is how you can get a customized roadmap with ChatGPT. Alright, now let's see how ChatGPT can help us increase our vocabulary. So you can make ChatGPT to build a database of the new words you learned. And after ChatGPT builds this database, which is basically just a table with the new words that you learned, ChatGPT can build like a story based on the words included in your table. So you can practice the words by reading the story that ChatGPT creates. And that's very cool. And we're going to see how to do this. First, let's see this prompt, which is huge, but is very useful for this. So let's see this prompt. First, I'm telling ChatGPT to act as a language tutor, and then I'm saying that I'm going to give new words I'm learning to increase my vocabulary. And for each new word, I give it context. And ChatGPT has to write the meaning of the word, provide 3 examples, and explain the meaning of the word in the given context. Then, well, this is the first part. Then in the second part, every time that I use the keyword table time, ChatGPT is going to create a table with all the words that I learned. And well, this table is going to have these 6 columns. New words, then the type of the word, then the meaning of the word, some examples, and then the word family. And finally, I have another keyword, and this keyword is going to trigger another action. In this case, every time I say story time, ChatGPT is going to create a story using the words that were included in the table, so the new words that I learned. And well, this is a very long prompt and it's going to be in the description. And now let's see it in action. Alright, here is a table that ChatGPT created using the words I learned in the past week. Before seeing this table, here is one example how this works. First, I give a sentence, and then I give the new word. For example, here is the context. I must brush up on my Spanish before I go to Seville. And then this is the new word, brush up. So basically, ChatGPT is going to give me the meaning, some examples, and the word family. And when I say, or when I type the words table time, ChatGPT is going to create a table using the words that I learned. In this case, this new word, brush up, is going to be at the end of the table. So here, brush up, this is a phrasal verb, and here we have 3 examples. And finally, we have the word family. And well, every time I say table time, I'm going to get the table with all the words that I learned. And as you can see, here I have some other words like impoverishment, reluctant, rigorous, and so on. Those are words that I just learned in the past weeks. And now if I type a story time, we're gonna get the story using the words in my table. And this is the coolest part of this, because the more you listen and the more you use this word in real life, the easier for you to remember this new word. And here you can see how many times it used this word in this story. So as you can see, it used it many times in this story. And just like this word, the other words were also used many times in this story. Alright, we're going to continue seeing more ways to use ChatGPT to learn a foreign language, but I would like to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. In this video, we're seeing how to use ChatGPT to learn a new subject. And another app that I use to learn subjects like math, statistics, computer science, and more is Brilliant. Brilliant has thousands of lessons from math to statistics and computer science, with new lessons added monthly. My favorite part about Brilliant is that you can learn new subjects interactively. Lately, I've been brushing up on my math because I needed to understand the tech side of artificial intelligence. And with Brilliant, every day I review concepts in algebra, geometry, and logic by solving interactive exercises. Using Brilliant has helped me develop my analytical thinking, which is better than memorizing math formulas or equations, and it's necessary if you want to survive in the new AI age, where tools like ChatGPT are getting better at solving math problems and writing code. To try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/thepiecoach. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Alright, now let's see how to use ChatGPT to get grammar feedback with examples. And this is the prompt that we're going to use. Act as a language tutor, and then I'm telling ChatGPT that I'll provide sentences in a language, and ChatGPT is going to correct them so it's grammatically correct and the formality is neutral. And well, ChatGPT also has to provide an explanation to the correction provided and well, give some examples. And here I'm gonna use another example, in this case Portuguese, and then press enter. So here ChatGPT is gonna tell me that it's going to assist me with this, and now I'm gonna type a sentence in Portuguese as an example. All right, here's the sentence, and I made some mistakes in purpose just for the sake of this example. Now I press enter, and now ChatGPT is going to correct every grammar mistake that I made, and is going to give an explanation, and also it's going to give some examples. All right, ChatGPT finished giving the feedback, and as you can see, well, I made some mistakes here because I included this exclamation mark that isn't used in Portuguese. Then I said todo instead of tudo, and well, here also, here instead of the n, instead of the m, I used the n, and here I missed some here the circumflex accent. Well, I did all of this on purpose, and as you can see, ChatGPT give me the feedback and also give me some examples. All right, now it's time to see a prompt that is going to give us better translations than Google Translate. And here's the prompt. And well, in this prompt, I'm telling ChatGPT to provide not only one translation to a phrase, but 6 translations. And with this, we're going to get alternative to translate a sentence from one language to another. And this is much better than just using Google Translate. And I want to show you why. First, I'm going to give you an example here. I have a sentence in Spanish, and well, I'm translating from Spanish to English. And well, here I want you to pay attention to 2 words. First, the word fiel, which is translated as faithful, and then the word adaptaciones, which is translated as adaptations. They are not bad translations, they are actually okay. But once you reach an advanced level, you realize that there are other words that could fit this sentence much better. And this is what we're gonna get with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is gonna provide different alternatives with the prompt that I showed you. And now I press enter, and I'm gonna give the same sentence to ChatGPT. So here's the sentence, and well, now I'm gonna press enter, and let's see the 6 translations that is going to give us. All right, as you can see now, we got 6 translations, and these are not just the standard translation that we get with Google Translate, but we have 6 different tones: casual, moderate, formal, very formal, and well, a bit less common or rare. And well, let's see the more casual way to translate this sentence. And in this case, we're using the words as true as possible to instead of using as faithful as possible. And then we're using the word tweaks instead of adaptations. Well, both translations are good, but sometimes if you want to sound casual and not so formal, this is a much better translation. And then we have other alternative here. In the moderate or common is using again faithful as Google Translate, but now it's using here adjustments, which I think is much better than adaptations, maybe. And well, then we have formal, very formal, and rare. And well, you're gonna find different translations, and with this you can choose the translation you want based on the formality that you want to use. And speaking of formal and informal speech, the last prompt that I'm going to show you is gonna help us convert a sentence written in formal speech to informal speech, and vice versa. So here's the prompt that we're going to use. As a language tutor, I'll provide you expressions that native, in this case English speakers, use in formal English, and you have to convert the expression into neutral speech and informal speech. And here's the sentence that we're going to use as an example. The company needs to leverage its resources. So in this case, leverage is a bit formal word, and now we're going to find out an alternative word for leverage in neutral speech and also in informal speech. All right, first we have the original sentence, and then we have the sentence in neutral speech. So the company needs to use its resources effectively. So instead of saying leverage, we can say use its resources effectively. Then in informal speech, instead of saying leverage its resources, we can say the company is gonna make the most out of what it's got. So this is very informal, and well, it's an alternative to say leverage. And that's it. This is how I've been using ChatGPT to learn multiple languages. Let me know in the comment section if you have another prompt that you've been using to learn languages with ChatGPT. And I'll see you in the next video.